Hello everyone, I am Ruth Norton with Ruth's Stamping Corner, and today I have a gorgeous card for you today, and it's a little bit of a surprise card for you. Today we are making a pull and pop card. So when you pull out the bottom of this, the card pops out from the inside. It is so much fun. I'll give you kind of a side version of how that works. Pop. It is so much fun, and I guarantee you will play with this for hours, with hours and hours of entertainment. So let's get started. We're actually going to make the actual base of the card first. And to do that, I'm going to use a piece of Melon Mambo. This card for my sample, this is made from Gorgeous Grape. So I'm using Melon Mambo, and we're gonna just do a little bit of scoring. On the 5 1/4 inch side, you're gonna score it 1/2 inch on each side. Now today I'm just going to show you kind of how to make the entire mechanism, and then after you make the mechanism you can pretty much decorate it however you want. Now on the 9 3/4 inch side you want to score it at 4 1/4. Now there's going to be a lot of measurements of products, of DSPs, cardstocks, where to score them, where to cut them, all of that. So if you have any questions, please head to my video description or head to my blog, and I will have all the written measurements there, so you can just check those out. You don't have to worry about writing them down right now. Okay, so you're going to notice that once you burnish on those score lines, that one side is longer than the other side. We're going to trim up this longer side. So leave the shorter side intact, and then what you're going to do is take your scissors and we're going to trim up the 1/2 inch score line on these longer edges, just like that. And we'll do the other side. You can use a paper trimmer if you're more comfortable cutting these long lines with a paper trimmer. I'm just using my big scissors. And then we're just going to cut this just at a slight angle. It does not have to be a big angle, just a slight little angle there. And we're just gonna throw those away. We don't need those. And so this is basically what your the top of your card looks like. This is your card base. This is actually going to fold in just like that, and that's going to make our card base. But we're going to get to that in just a minute. For now, we're just going to put this off to the side. All right, let's talk about the actual card on the inside, the one that pops out. Let's talk about this card. Okay, this card is going to be 3 3/4 by 7 1/2. Now I've already scored it at 3 inches. Is that correct? Yes, I've already scored it at 3 inches. I'm doubting my own measurements now. We're going to give that a really good burnish. And you want to make sure that if you're going to do any decorating on your card, you want to do all of that before we get the entire thing together. So I'm going to grab my Stampin' Seal and I'm going to adhere some DSP, and then I'm also going to adhere a little white piece on the inside. So the DSP for the outside of my piece is going to be, let me look at my notes. Hang on one second. This is 2 3/4 by 3 1/2. All right, and we're going to adhere that down. I'm just using my Stampin' Seal. You can use any adhesive you want. This goes on the smaller flap on the outside. And this DSP that I'm using, this is the Hues of Happiness DSP. It is gorgeous. It is in our new catalog. I have already used a ton of mine. I only have a few sheets left, actually. I already have another package on its way. But there are so many gorgeous patterns in here. The flowers on the front here were actually die cut straight from the DSP, and we'll talk about that more in just a second. All right, now I have a larger piece of DSP that's going to go on the inside of my card. The bottom of this card is actually going to poke out, so you want to make sure that you are decorating the inside of this card. And this piece is 3 1/2 by 4 1/4. Sorry, there are so many measurements that it takes me a second to find all of those notes. All right, now I do have a little piece of white on the inside. This is 2 1/4 by 3 1/4. If you want to stamp anything on this, you can. If you want to write your note in advance, you can. And I'm going to stick this up close to the top of that card. Again, the bottom of this card is going to show. So if you have anything that's going to hang below this, the edge of this card, it's probably going to show when your card is closed. So when it's all put together, you're going to have a little bit showing down here. So you just want to make sure that anything you want tucked away in your card is tucked away in your card and not down at the bottom here. Okay, so that is pretty much our inside card. all put together. So let's talk about how we're going to attach the card to the base. So for that, I'm going to use a piece of cardstock that is 2.5 by 2.5. And then on two sides, on one side, on opposite sides, I've scored at 3/8 on each side. So I'm gonna fold and burnish those score lines just so you can kind of see how I scored that. So it's just 3/8 on each side. And then to really make this work, what you're going to do is you are going to break down the fibers in this cardstock. So I'm using my bone folder and I'm just pulling it along that cardstock. This is essentially breaking down the fibers in your cardstock, and that's going to make it easier for your mechanism to work. The more that this is curled and broken down, the easier it is for the mechanism to work. Okay, so I have that nice and curled. I'm going to make sure that those score lines are nice and prominent again. So this is kind of what it should look like. It should look like almost like a little dome. And we're going to use some adhesive here. You want to make sure that for this part you are using an extremely strong adhesive. You don't want to skimp out on adhesive at this point. So I'm going to use some tear and tape. Tear and tape is incredibly strong. It is great for 3D projects. It's great for cards like this. And I'm just going to put a piece of adhesive, of tear and tape adhesive, on each of those score lines that we made. All right, now we're going to peel off just one side for right now. So only one side is exposed. And we're going to pull back in this card. And we are going to line up this with the very top of our card. So line up this edge and center it as best you can. It is just going along the edge of that card, the top card, just like that. Okay, so this can fold up. So you can see it's adhered just to that edge piece. All right, I hope that all makes sense. All right, now before we get the whole thing put together, I do want to get my tear and tape out again, and I'm going to put some tear and tape on the outside of these 1/2-inch strips. Okay, that will just help us out when we're ready to assemble this thing. We're not going to peel off the backing yet, but having it there is going to help us out. All right, we are ready to put this whole thing together. So I'm going to peel off my backing here. And what we're looking for is we are looking for this edge right here of our little mechanism, of our curved mechanism, to line up with this edge here. So I'm actually going to use my grids here on my mat to make sure that I am lining everything up straight. So I have the card base lined up with one of the lines here, and I'm going to make sure that this is centered as best as I can. And I'm going to start by lining it up on an edge down there and see, okay, so I need to go down maybe another 1/2 inch. So I'm going to line it up against this edge again down here. And how are we doing there? Okay, so it needs to go up just a little bit. There is no precise way to figure this out. So it's really more just trial and error. So just make sure everything is nice and straight. Don't glue your hand down. Okay, I'm happy with that placement. Maybe even just down just a smidgen. So I'm not gluing it down, but I do want to make sure that this edge is lining up with this folded edge on the mechanism. Once I am super happy that everything is in place and everything is nice and straight, I'm just going to hold that mechanism down and fold this over just like that. Okay, so basically this is how it's attached now. So one side is attached to the card, and the other side is attached to the inside of your actual card base. Okay, when you fold this down, this will pop right out. Okay, isn't that fantastic? It's so much fun. All right, now the best way to adhere this down is to fold your card up. You have your little tabs here. We're going to fold those over. I'm going to peel off the adhesive on those. So let's peel those off. Okay, and then all we're going to do is just fold our card base over. Okay, so make sure that everything is lining up. Perfect. Just like that. So let's turn it over. Fantastic. Look at our card. It totally works now. All right, now you can see that it's kind of getting caught a little bit, and that is because we haven't put our bottom piece of DSP in. Now these little 1/2-inch tabs, I'm not sure if you can see the little 1/2-inch tab that we just glued down, that we just folded, your card will get stuck on there unless you cover them up. So I'm going to use some DSP from that same pack, from the Hues of Happiness pack. And this piece is 4 by 1 1/4. So yeah, 1 1/4. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lift up my card. I don't want to glue it to my card, but I want to make sure that it is over those tabs. So I'm just going to kind of center it down, making sure that it's covering those tabs. Adhere that down. And then your card, because we've covered up those tabs on the inside now, will slide in and out just beautifully. So much fun. All right, I have another piece of that Hues of Happiness DSP here. This one is 4 by 4. That one's easy to remember. And then to finish off my card, I have die cut a bunch of flowers directly from the DSP. So let me show you. You can get all these flowers and leaves. I've die cut all these flowers and leaves directly from the DSP. I've used the Blossoming Happiness dies. This coordinates with the Happiness Abounds. You can get this in a bundle, and this is actually the bundle and greeting that I used for this card here. You can see the greetings come from this card, or from this stamp set. Okay, the greeting that I'm using for this card is actually, I've already die cut that one, stamped and die cut. That's from the Charming Sentiments bundle. So all of these greetings have coordinating dies that will cut them out. All right, now the dies cut directly out of the DSP, just like I said, from that Blossoming Happiness. So all we're going to do now, I'm going to grab some dimensionals, which I forgot to grab down, so let me grab those. I'm just going to grab some dimensionals, and we're just going to start adhering our flowers on. Because these are all cut from the same DSP, they all coordinate beautifully. So I'm just going to stick them all down with their coordinating colors. So it just looks like a little rainbow of happiness here. Just love this DSP. I have used it a ton. I cannot stop using it. It is so gorgeous. I'm going to stick a couple of these beautiful roses in here. And then for my leaves, actually, I'm going to use some liquid glue for my leaves. I'm just going to go through and just keep tucking some leaves in until I'm going to stick that one there. I'm going to stick this one. Stick this one over here like that. Another one of these. Let's bring that one down here. So you can really just put them wherever you want. There's no right or wrong way to do this. I'm just going to kind of tuck that one in like that. Beautiful. A little bit more. I'm only putting adhesive on kind of the bottom corner because I still want the leaves to have a little bit of lift. And you know, I think that's it. I think I'm going to save that leaf. I think I have an extra leaf. And then for our greeting, a little bit of adhesive on here, and I'm just going to stick this one down here on this beautiful Daffodil Delight flower. Just like that. And that, I'm going to let this glue kind of set. But that is your slide and pop card. Isn't that gorgeous? So much fun. You will have so many hours of entertainment with these cards. It is so gorgeous. This one I finished up with some glossy dots on here, some of our new glossy dots. You can also add that one to this card as well. All right, guys, that's it for today. If you have any questions, please let me know. You can shop for these products in my online store. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'd love it if you subscribe to my channel. It really shows me that you love these videos and you want to see more of them. All right, guys, have a great day. Bye.